Hello, Internet. Hello. Hi. Welcome back to Explorers of Elsewhere's Tales from Elsewhere. Hi. You join us as we go rummaging around in a mystery mansion trying to find out who did a murder. Hello. Hi, Nate. Hi. And we seem to have lots of clues have been unearthed. There's a few interesting little snippets of information that you've dug up, and yeah, we have only a few hours left until midnight, when the investigation will come to an all so sudden end. So we don't waste too much time. Shall we jump into the title screen and then jump into the finale? Marvellous. Okay. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Spirit Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, the Sangavar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormhawk, a Dragon Scent Bard.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. We rejoin Cal and Rayri in the library of this magical mansion. I would say face to face, but that's not true. You are currently entangled with some sort of invisible force. This has shoved Rayri and tried to make a break for it out of the room. Cal, you've managed to kind of head off this invisible force, and having taken a swing at it, you know that you've kind of pushed it somewhere in the room. We are in initiative for all intents and purposes, so Cal, you've already gone, and you rolled with hope. So Rayri, do you want to... Well, Cal, is there anything you're doing at the end of your turn?
I've had the end of my turn, so I guess really it's only fair that it's Rayri's going. Yeah.
No shouted, no words of to shout out or bellow or think.
Think. Bellow.
Rayri, it's still in the room. It's still in the room.
Okay, Rayri, you are up. What are you doing?
Can I sense where, like, do you want me to do some kind of check to see if I can sense where it is?
Yeah, I would say we're going to need... Well, roll me an instinct to see if you can kind of roughly figure out where it is. I think realistically it's going to be the case that unless something happens that allows you to pinpoint like where it is at a specific point, you're not going to be able to attack it.
Yeah. Instinct. That's a crit.
That is a crit. In which case, as you pick yourself up, and you turn, like you look around, you notice Vinny has spun on the spot and is doing his little dire chihuahua snarl at an area in the corner, and you notice that the bits of dust that have kind of been blown off of the bookshelves is coating what appears to be a faint outline of a humanoid figure.
Rayri
just shouts, Vinny! Get him! And casts Vinny.
Okay. I cast dog.
I cast Vinny.
Okay, what does that look like?
You want me to do like?
You can effectively do like an attack roll or some such, right?
Amazing. Or with its agility.
And it will be with disadvantage as invisible.
Or even with the crit.
Even with a crit.
The crit was
Even though I know
to.
exactly where he is.
The crit was to see it. So surely
Okay, yeah. I'll give you that.
I would understand if it was like.
I'll stop being mean. But yes, okay. So I will ignore the request for the disadvantage. How does a beast companion work?
So a beast companion works. So he has his own attack roll, which is an agility roll, which is the same as my agility. So he gets a +3.
Okay.
I would like to use an experience, a Vinny experience.
Okay, a Vinsperience.
The experience, because his attack is agility based, I would argue that I could use. He has the ability fast as heck. So I would like to add that he's running very fast.
Okay. So a total of 15.
There's a 15.
Okay.
With hope.
With hope. So yeah, you get so you're down to 4 and then back up to 5. Vinny flies away from you like a lightning bolt. And
As fast as heck.
yeah, as fast as heck. And Cal, you watch as this like how big is Vinny? Is he like large goat? He's like Shetland pony sized, right?
He's like Shetland pony goat, like
Oh my
large
goodness.
goat Shetland pony.
Okay, so this Shetland pony sized chihuahua slams into this figure, Cal, you notice. And the figure lets out an audible grunt. Vinny, it's a hit. Roll for damage.
So that wait. Wait, what? Sorry, it's being weird. No. What is it doing? Sorry, my dice is getting stuck.
What's the damage roll?
2d8.
And D plus anything?
+3.
Okay, I'll roll this out for you.
Roll 4.
Boom, 7.
7 chomp damage.
7 chomp damage. So, we can, for the first time, do something a little like Daggerheart PCs. Bam! Yeah! Separate tokens.
My boy.
Yeah, Vinny jumps out and sort of like grabs onto something, and you hear sort of like a grunt and a squeal of shock at how heckin' fast this doggo went. And where is it? So you did 7 damage. Okay. As Vinny sort of like shakes his chops, you watch as an outline forms and then begins to fill in. And Agatha emerges with Vinny chomped on his leg, and he's desperately trying to like shake the dog off. Get off me! Get off me! He bellows. And as you rolled with Hope, it's still not. Well, it's your collective turns still. Has Alfric been given a heads up as to what's happening?
No, I was about to do that with my turn with Beaton.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Considering the fact that this poor dragon scent has had voices in his head and is now about to have Cal's voice in his head, maybe not the best time for a telepathy spell, but sure. Cal just like, Cal in his head just goes, library, Agatha, now, both of you in his head. And that's literally it's in his most commander voice. That is like.
Okay. So, yeah, as Cal, Alfred, you hear sort of like Cal's voice, and it sounds different to the voices that you've been hearing in your mind. But yeah, you've been told library, Agatha, now. Cal, what are you doing for the rest of your turn?
I think I'm going to try and give Agatha the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to attack him again because he's already being munched on by a dog. But my sword is going to his throat and just be like, "You're not moving." And I want to make a presence roll, please, to intimidate the git.
Okay, roll me a presence check.
Can indeed. So when I make a presence roll against a hostile target, you can spend a hope to add your strength trait to the roll. Strength trait is +2.
Juicy. So down to 4.
That's the worst roll ever. Why? Hang on. I'm gonna see if I can re-roll that. I'm sure I've got something. Sure, I have something that's like.
Well, plus side, you rolled a hope, so.
Oh, hang on.
Oh wait.
I did roll hope at least. Thank God.
Have you got re-roll?
Rolling on? Oh wait, no, I can't.
Yeah. That's a shame. I should have used one of my experiences because I can. If I fail a roll, that utilize one of my experiences, I can mark a stress to re-roll. It's not experience, it's an ability that I was going to use.
Have you got an experience that you can retroactively tack on?
I think I do, because one of my experiences is the blade, which kind of relates to anything to do with his commander experience, and I think his intimidation is like he is a soldier in this moment. He is not an adventurer, he's not an explorer, he is a terrifying soldier of war.
So what I'm hearing is that you spent a hope to activate the ability, and you spent a hope to activate the experience, which drops you to 3.
Yep.
And then you rolled like doo-doo, but you get to re-roll it.
Yeah, I do. I do get to re-roll it.
Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that and see if it works. That's better. That's much better. So that's.
Well, that's hope. So you go back up to 4. There we go.
So cool. So that's 11, 12, 13. I think that's 15 with hope now.
Okay.
No, 16 with hope. Sorry, because it's with my experience now.
16 with hope. Okay. So what is it you say to him exactly?
Don't you dare move.
Okay. In which case, off the back of a 16, Agatha like recoils from the blade being kind of swung at his neck, and it pushes him into a corner, and in this moment like Vinny adopts his best sheepdog stance and just sort of like and we all know how utterly terrifying chihuahuas are when they're all like with their scaggly fangs pointing in all directions, which is just infinitely worse when it's Shetland pony sized, and Agatha like backs into a corner and he sort of like looks to you and sort of like, yeah, he's shaking his leg out of Vinny's jaws, and he like slowly puts his hand up, and in his hand are a handful of crumpled pages that the two of you would wager were recently torn from the ledger of debts. And I yield. There's no more for. Please don't. I have a thing with dogs, he says as he sort of like gestures at Vinny.
Very safe. Vinny? Very good. Stand down. Stand down, Vinny. Stand down. And he just sits.
Yeah. Scratches the ear. Okay. Yeah, Cal and Rayri, you have kind of cornered and subdued Agathar. Alfric and Vanier, are you heading straight over?
What does Alfric say?
Oh, yes. What does Alfric say?
He's gonna like very hesitantly put up his hand as we're walking towards another door. I heard another voice.
What door you got away from it?
This one sounded like Cal. Admittedly, the first one sounded like you, but...
Right. And what did this one say?
Library. Now.
Did Vanier see Alfred cast magic to
yes.
Cal earlier?
The telepathy spell is definitely public knowledge.
Okay, so in which case, hearing that it was Cal saying library now, Vanier's sort of hunter demeanor kicks in and just immediately just darts off to towards the corridor.
Okay.
Follow me. And yeah, we start making our way.
So as the two of you begin making your way along the corridor towards the library, as the two of you arrive, we find Cal, Rayri and Vinny kind of almost like blocking any form of escape for Agathar, who's sort of like stooping slightly and sort of like rubbing his right lower leg, and like there's a look of real disdain on his face as the two of you arrive. Disdain mixed with sheepishness. And then as you two arrive, he says, I can assure you this isn't what it looks like.
Well, it looks like being invisible, stealing pages, and trying to run away from us. That's what it looks like. Was it not that?
Well, no. That's exactly what it was. Yes, but that's all it is. That's all it is.
And what about the people you were with just earlier?
Yeah.
He looks pointedly at you, Vanier, and then like his eyes flutter down to the floor slightly, and he returns to this kind of like sheepishness, and it's a far cry from the bravado of the man that was telling his stories in the parlour earlier. He looks more like a chided child. Well, yes, I heard that there was an explosion of some sort. Are they okay?
Is he bullshitting? Pardon my French. Is he telling porcupines?
The four of you all glance at one another, and like it is abundantly clear that he's spitballing.
Immediately, there's a sort of like a icy wind just ever so slightly blowing underneath the cloak, and I say, I can tell when you're lying. Tell us the truth.
He sort of like looks around sheepishly, and where is Bendel? I want to see Bendel.
We are asking the questions here. Answer them.
The mage scowls slightly, and I am a wizard. I plumb the depths of arcane knowledge for unlimited power. I risk my life on a daily basis perfecting my craft. I suffered under the tutelage of Ulick. And then I find it's all for nothing. I will not stand for it.
So you killed him?
He screws his face up. Why on earth would I kill him? He's the gateway to more power. I was in line to inherit everything he had, and he gave me nothing.
When asked that response, do we get the sense that he is honest when he's saying that why would he kill him? Like as though that he has, like, or does it seem like he's trying to skirt the fact that he actually did do the deed?
Let's do a group vote. Who thinks he's telling the truth? Who thinks he genuinely is asking why would he kill him? All hands.
Not sure.
Roll.
I want to hit the man. It doesn't mean that he did it. There are two different feelings here.
We're gonna need. I'm gonna say a knowledge comprehend here, or like analyze, or something along those lines.
I was going for instinct. Was where I was gunning with that.
Well, instinct's more sense danger, notice details in the world, or track an elusive foe. Yeah, so this isn't. You perceive that there's a man who's very grumpy who's just said the words, why would I do it? But yeah, I'm going to say a knowledge to analyse what he's saying.
Okay.
But this is for anyone who's interested.
Okay.
Go on, Alfred. You've got the most knowledge out of all of us.
True.
I'm definitely using spending a hope on this one, using my heightened senses to reduce that hope down to a 3 and to give myself a +2 to this roll as I'm trying to hear his heart rate and see intently watch his body language as he responds.
Okay.
So that's going to be...
well, Alfred's rolled a 15. What are you adding to that?
It'll be just a +1 for me now.
Oh, no, sorry, Alfred.
Oh, sorry.
On knowledge,
Yes.
+2.
+2. Okay, so 17 from Alfred. With Fiar.
I got a 23 with hope, which I will put into a Slayer die.
Okay. You hear like his heart is racing, but you feel it's from like raw adrenaline. And Alfric, there's the way that he sort of like snapped incredulously. Why would I kill him? That off the back of your 17, between the two of you, like, you glance at one another and it's clear that it wasn't Agathar that killed Ulick. But his anger about seemingly being left nothing in the will, like being left nothing in the aftermath of Ulick's death, that anger is true and real. He sort of like Agathar is sort of like heavily breathing, and he's got this almost snarl, this kind of bestial snarl on his face, and then he sort of like calms down slightly again, and can I please see if Bendel is okay?
I am inclined to believe what you're saying, so perhaps, but can you elaborate on what happened to Bendel and the mayor? Were you there when it all happened? I smelt your scent.
As Agathar sort of like goes to start, you hear the sounds of footsteps running down the corridor, and the paladin Valana comes around the corner, and I heard a big commotion. What's happened? And she stops as she sees Agathar in the corner. Oh, you found Agathar. And she looks around, kind of observes the encounter, and oh, you found Agathar, she says again. And Agathar, like, seeing the paladin, like, he just like his shoulders drop, and then he repeats again, this time to Valana, is Bendel okay? And the keeper is like nods, and yes, he's coming around. We've lulled him back into consciousness. And Agathar sort of like breathes a sigh of relief. It was all Bendel's idea. We discovered that Bendel is privy to what's on Ulick's will, and Ulick was a master mage, but an absolutely useless financial prospect. His obsession with the primal has just led him to more and more extravagant experiments, each with more and more increasing costs. In the time I was away, he'd, for all intents and purposes, run himself into bankruptcy. A lot of the experiments were funded by Seldavon and Mayor Seldavon. It turns out that the previous mayor, he was cutting Ulick some sort of deal in exchange for protection and the security of having an archmage so nearby. But after he got chased out of town and was replaced with Montgomery wanted to balance the books. And that's when Bendel said to me that all of Ulick's remaining wealth was going to be funneled back into the town. He was going to leave the two of us nothing after everything we've done for him. He was going to leave us nothing. So Bendel suggested that we swap the wills. We swap it for a new one, so the money would come to us. The town's got the support of the Explorers League. They don't need Ulick's coffers, what's left of them. And Bendel deserves a retirement for whatever years he has left, and I deserve something to base my future career on. But he left us nothing. I'm sad that the old man copped it. But it certainly wouldn't have been me that did it. And as he finishes, he lets out a troubled sigh, and then somewhat petulantly, like, crosses his arm, like a grumpy child.
So, were you there when the mayor and Bendel got struck?
He nods, and we must have activated one of the glyphs on the safe, and well, I woke up on the other side of the mansion.
DM.
Yes.
From memory, you said his scent was travelling.
Yes.
So the idea of him being teleported doesn't match with what I had picked up.
Correct.
Therefore, is it safe to assume, rather than me to try and make some sort of or knowledge roll to tell if he's lying or not, to see that that particular detail doesn't add up?
It 100% does not add up.
Yeah, I think Vanya would just respond.
Well, I told you earlier that I could pick up your scent. That scent did not just disappear out of thin air. It moved out of the room. So that doesn't seem to add up with what you're saying.
He scrunches his face up as he looks at you for a moment a bit confused, and then it clicks, oh, you're a wolfkin, we're both wolfkin. And then he kind of scrunches his face up, and it was a light touch spell designed to incapacitate the two of them, so they would be none the wiser as to what I'd really done. The new will was going to give me everything.
So, did your magic kill the mayor?
And he frowns, and I just told you it was a light touch spell. Of course it wouldn't have. It would have just knocked him back.
What, making him paralyzed or something?
It was a fiery concussive blast, just to make it look like they'd activated the safe, but to knock them away from it, make it look like they triggered it.
Yeah, but the problem was when he fell over, he got smashed on the head.
By who?
The bust. Stone, he basically killed him.
And Agathar blinks at you a few times. He's dead.
Yes.
And he blinks a few times out of comprehension, and then his face, like the colour begins to drain from his face.
Like, you didn't mean to, but you did. That was, you know.
I didn't mean... And it's clear that the mage has kind of gone into a bit of a state of shock, as he just starts, like, spluttering and stuttering to himself. And you hear a long drawn-out sigh from the paladin in the doorway. Well, it would seem that we've figured out one solution, but we're still none the wiser on who the murderer is. And off the back of Alfric's roll with fear earlier, you hear an ominous bong as you are 1 hour closer to midnight.
I mean, we're 2 hours.
2 hours left.
2 hours.
When from that comment, Vanya's like,
Well, Agathar may not have killed Ulick, but at the moment it seems like he's killed the mayor, whether it was on accident or not. That's still something.
I fear we still don't know who killed the other body.
Well,
Right.
Like, let's not let the mayor die in vain. Have you got any idea who it could have been that killed Ulick?
Agathar... He sort of like... He hums and haws. Ulick did a lot of incredible things in his lifetime. But he also made a lot of powerful enemies. And I feel that his obsessions would prove to be his unraveling. After I returned from my expedition, we argued at length over his need to delve into the question of the primal. He was so caught up in that crystal that he... Have you ever known an arcane focus to be used so much that you break it through abuse, through too much use?
Is this the Wilder shard?
He nods. Yes. Yeah, it's the lump of useless glass that's in the trophy room.
But it's not in the trophy room.
And
it's not there.
Agathar looks at you. But where is it then?
Oh, we thought you might know. You're a magic user.
Well, he always kept it in the trophy room. He used it as a reminder both of his exploits and also his... Well, towards the end, his regret for taking it by force. He shed a lot of blood for that crystal. But it's absolutely benign. It's completely drained of mana. Who would take it? What use is it to anyone?
Well, I guess if you stole it from somewhere, maybe they wanted it back.
I mean, there's in that trophy room that all of the other magical artifacts are perfectly fine. I mean, the amulet works. The dagger that dispels magic, that works. Why would you take the lump of glass?
Could that have been the murder weapon too?
Valana purses her lips. If the wound to Agathar is it's a dagger wound. It's certainly a bladed weapon. From what I understand of the Wildershard, it's too wide. It would be a very inelegant weapon to use.
What about the letter opener?
And I brandish the letter opener.
Valana tilts her head slightly and looks at this somewhat blunt letter opener, and no, a dagger. Like it looks like it's a dagger blade of some sort. A dagger wound. You could say it's a dagger heart wound.
In the heart. In the...
Plug in.
Agatha, were you around when he came back with the shard with the crystal originally? Do you remember when he got it?
It was some months ago.
Is anyone that is around here, like the people today in the mansion? Have any of them been new since the shard came?
Like the chef, perhaps.
Like a chef? Or...
Sharir, and he kind of furrows his brow. Sharir was a druid before she became a chef, but she's been in Ulick's employ for years. Oh, sorry, Dan's going to read the notes. She's been in his employ for
months.
A few months.
Interesting. So,
but and he shakes his head. No. She's bent over backwards. She spent all these months learning all of his favorite recipes, and I mean, even when he used to tell her off for using too many of her exotic spices, she would cater to his every will and whim. It wouldn't have been her.
Well, if she was a druid beforehand, she must have some familiarity with Primor magic, right?
Well,
maybe she might have been upset of Ulick's use or abuse on Primor magic. I don't know.
Well, I think we should talk to her, don't you?
She, like Valana, grunts in approval behind you, and Agathar, no, I think you're on time. I think we should. And he sort of gets up and goes to sort of walk as if he's amongst one of you.
No, you're not going anywhere, mate, because you've killed a man. Let's get this straight. I think you're probably not. You're not really part of the gang.
Valana, Valana says, "You head to the parlor. I'll deal with this. I'll deal with him, she says.
Don't we just bring him with us so we're all together?
She nods. Yeah. Well, if you unless you don't mind waiting, I'll bind his wrists so he can't cast any more spells, and then we can head to the parlour.
I think she can deal with him. Have you seen her? Look at her.
Okay, so you hold fire, and he, like, Agatha looks glum as his arms are pulled behind his back, and she casts like a divine spell that fundamentally shackles his wrists together. It's like a hold person, but it's just on the wrists. And then as she sort of like marches him back through the corridors, Stradivon is in the foyer by the fountain, just sort of like with his stony hand cupping the water that's spraying out from the fountain, and like seeing Agatha shackled. Like, he doesn't really have facial expressions, but you get the impression that he would be raising an eyebrow if he could. And as you enter into the parlour, Bendel is sort of like rocked back on the on one of the sofa type chairs, and he's just like lightly grumbling to himself in this sort of like delirious state of sleep. But as you walk in, the chef sort of like stands up and Valana, I have some important news to tell you, she says, and like her eyes are sort of like open wide and a bit frantic. And as the four of you enter in, sort of like around the paladin, the chef is like frantically waggling a finger at Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn is sort of like sat up on her lounger, with her hands on her lap, and then as the four of you enter, she looks to the paladin, smiles, and says, I have to come clean. It was me.
What?
I killed Ulick. And like you see her brows furrowed, and she like as she looks up at the keeper and the four of you, like, and blinks a few times and then looks down at the floor. I killed him, she says.
Ian?
Yes.
Can Cal ascertain if she's speaking of her own free will in this moment? Is there a spell on this woman? Is there... Because this doesn't... well, we are aware there is friction with her and Ulick, but due to our conversation we've just had, and we know that the chef is a druid, I'd like to see if there's a way of us kind of ascertaining if there's some foul play going on here.
Roll me. I think this is going to be a knowledge again.
Yeah, it's going to be a knowledge. Right, hang on, let me see if I've got anything. Don't know if I have.
Like, so specifically you're seeing if there's some sort of magical effect?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone else kind of chipping in or helping, or...?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a bit far-fetched, because I'm not a magic user, but with my ability to sense things around us with my heightened senses, I'm willing to spend a hope to provide aid in the sense of yeah, seeing that Cal's like starting to read into the situation, Vanier's just instincts kick in, and there's like he's trying to help gauge if he can sense any untoward magic in the air through more of an instinctual sense, through smell, feel, taste, and all that.
Okay.
All the senses. So yeah, I'm gonna throw, if that's okay, DM. I'll throw. I'll use up a hope to add a d6 to the roll.
Sure. Yeah. For advantage, that's fair enough. So that drops you to
My roll?
2. Yes.
Okay. What I want to do as well, Dan, is I would argue, as someone who has fought in a magical war, that Cal would be used to seeing people under the influence of magic, whether or not he's versed in magic directly, with his backstory and stuff, but actually having to spend months and months and years surrounded by people who either use magic or influenced by magic, whether he likes it or not, he can usually tell. So I'd like to use my experience as the blade, so it's a +3 on my knowledge roll, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Okay, so that drops you to 3.
Is a yes, and that would be a hope, I believe, to use one of my experiences.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that should be a roll +3 and then +6 for advantage.
Plus d6, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. Okay. So we're looking at 15 with
18.
fear.
Yeah.
Then plus. Okay.
So a dirty 20.
Okay.
A dirty 20. Okay. You study, between the two of you, as you study the old woman, what you specifically notice, Cal, because you've likely seen it many times before, is it's the confusion that she keeps on flitting back to. As if she's confused about the words that she's saying. And yet, it's clear that she believes what she said. But then, it's almost like she's a bit shocked that that's true. And, yeah, and it's to the point where that's why she keeps on saying it. Almost as if at some point she's going to say it and it's just going to ring false, and then she'll know it's not true. But you have seen soldiers during the War of the Dragons with this similar kind of cognitive dissonance, and then you can't help but glance over at the chef, who is like frantically waggling a finger. She's admitted it, she says, as the chef's pointing at the old woman.
I'm giving a meaningful permission look again at Vanya. I love this. Cal just giving people meaningful looks.
Yeah, I
just like
see Cal's
It's the blue steel look.
Study and squint, and I can see Cal looking over towards the chef, who's like, what? And then looks at me with a knowing look, and Vanya winces ever so slightly as a form of a silent acknowledgement, and Vanya will slowly step towards almost step around the back of the chair that Lady Gwendolyn's in, but really is making a slow movement even though it looks like he's trying to get behind Lady Gwendolyn, he's actually trying to get closer to the chef. Closer to her position. And Vanya will be like, and can you explain to us how you did this? As he's slowly inching towards the chef.
So are you sort of fake asking Gwendolyn, sorry?
Yeah. So that the chef thinks that my attention's on this.
She sort of like turns and looks to you, and that like I stabbed him. I stabbed him. Rayri and Alfric, like as this is playing out in front of you, what are the two of you doing?
Well, the guys haven't. We're still none the one.
Yeah, Alfric at least is wide-eyed with awed disbelief that they're getting a confession, and the voice told him I was in the parlour, so he's getting validation on that end.
I think Ray would just say out loud, "It's really weird. I really thought it was her," pointing at the chef. Everything pointed to the chef. That's blown my mind.
As you say this, like Sharice, who's sort of like waggling an accusatory finger, just wait, what? She says as she looks over.
I got to the glove. It goes towards the chef's shoulder.
Valana steps into the room and like bringing Agatha in with her. And you see the chef sort of like looking curiously at the shackled Agatha. Stradivon stoops in as well. And Alfric, you are invited in by Valana and asked to close the door behind you. And as you all kind of gather in this parlor, Valana says, it would seem that we have some suspicions, but, and she turns to you, Vanya, she turns to you, Cal. We still don't know how she did it.
Well, we can just ask.
She nods. As you say that, she says, "Ask me what? You heard her. Lady Gwendolyn said that she did it. I mean, she said she stabbed him. You should see if she's got a knife or something."
And as Vanya's like right next to the chef, Vanya just like looks down towards the chef, getting to lower towards their level, and say,
What is this strange magical scent I can smell?
Are you asking the chef? She kind of furrows her brow, and I don't smell any. I don't know what you're picking up on. I don't. And Valana, you see, she closes her eyes and she begins to focus, and then she opens them, and there is a slight arcane aura in the room. There is arcane magic at play here. And then she sort of like looks to you, Cal, and looks to you, Vanier, as if to say, like with a look that almost apologises for potentially poo-pooing on the idea. But it's arcane, not like primal or druidic. We don't have long left, the paladin insists. I need you... Can you think amongst yourselves, with everything that you've seen, what could the murder weapon have been? Because I'll need to present that as evidence. We'll also need to... irrefutable proof of a motive. And if you draw some sort of confession out of her now, then I can't in good faith put that forward. This is one of the most duress-filled rooms I've ever encountered.
Well, you said that it was a dagger wound, right?
Yes.
Well, there's a perfectly good magic deleting dagger in the showcase room. Could that have been possibly a potential weapon we've just not looked into yet?
Alfric, as Vanier suggests that, you think, and you know, while you were looking around, I mean, that knife has been, that dagger has been just kind of on the plinth since you since all four of you went in when you first arrived. It's been there, and I mean, it's not, I mean, it looks sparkling, it looked marvellous. But Agatha kind of chimes in from the corner of the room. The dagger does have the ability to dispel local magic. It could well have bypassed Ulick's wards.
And I suppose mean that he couldn't fight back.
Someone should check the dagger.
I could go.
I think someone else should go. Don't you, Alfric?
Certainly.
Well, Alfric's really good at magic, isn't he? Why would we send someone else? He's probably the best guy to send.
I don't know if I'm the best at magic.
Let's just say that someone with a fresh pair of eyes is better to go and pick it up.
I'll go. I'm happy to go with Alfric if that also works.
I don't
And I'll
mind.
keep an eye.
Okay, so Cal, you escort Alfric to the trophy room, and yeah, once you're inside, Cal, it's the same as you saw it last time. An obnoxious amount of gold, lots of mounted heads on the wall, and so on and so forth. And sure enough, on the kind of the top, on the pedestal furthest away from the door, is a small. Is a relatively sizable dagger, with its name on the little plaque is Spellrender. And yeah, as you kind of approach it, it looks pristine. It certainly doesn't look like it's been used to stab anyone recently. But yeah, it just kind of like glimmers in the floating candlelight. And all right, who's picking up? Are you picking it up?
So as if Alfric's a magic user himself, he'll sort of look a bit sheepishly at Cal
Would you like to?
I mean, if I pick it up, I probably won't be of much use to anyone.
Then I'll pick it up.
Okay. Cal, during your time in the war, it is very rare for a soldier to have not developed like a rational or irrational kind of hatred, vendetta against someone else. In sort of like broad terms, who is the person that gained your purest, most vengeful ire? Like, it doesn't have to be like a name, just like, you know, what class were they, what lineage were they, you know, just an overall picture.
Sure. There was an assassin working with the arcane on that side of the war, who killed someone very close to Cal.
Yep.
Yeah.
The assassins.
Very early on.
Okay. The assassins' tools of the trade, were they like mundane? Were they like poisons? Were they magical? What?
I think they. I think it was magical because it's one of the. It was part of the starting point of the war. It was
like a shadow magical.
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, as you pick the dagger up, you and Alfric both watch as the runes along its blade begin to glow, and you immediately feel a surge of power welling in your palm. And it takes you by surprise for a moment, Cal, but you suspect that you have attuned to this dagger. When you know, it normally takes a little while to attune to a magic weapon, like a magic item of sorts. But it seems almost as soon as you picked it up.
He definitely looks a little startled. Like, Cal does not look. Cal gives very few emotions at the best of times.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a kind of unreadable expression that is not his usual expression on his face as he looks at this weapon in hand.
In which case, yeah, Alfric, I guess you're not really sure what normal is supposed to look like right now. So, like, Cal's picked up a dagger and now it's glowing. Ooh. But yes, Cal looks shocked. That probably is a surprise. But yeah, as like Cal, as you you turn to leave, you've got this dagger. You're wondering why it's attuned to you. And Alfric, the hour draws near. The window of opportunity is closing. You stand among thieves and murderers, and you could rise above them, a champion of the gods. Accept your birthright. I am your purpose.
I quite like them all, actually. They've been quite nice. Thieves is a bit harsh.
You cannot help but find your eyes being drawn to the black circlet on the central pedestal.
Cal?
Uh-huh.
You know when a sign says, "Do not touch." You've seen more things than I have. I would wager. Is it always, so black and white, or?
Yeah, it is. If something says, "Do not touch," you take that very literally. And if we're in an Archmage's tower and it says, "Do not touch," that is the best thing you could possibly do.
He lies to you.
Vicinity.
He wishes to control you.
Don't touch.
He wishes to cast you down. See how the blasphemous runes react to his bloodthirsty soul. He is marked by the betrayer. He would never know if you took me.
We should probably go.
Leave and regret every decision you make beyond this day. I can make you great.
Come on, Alfric.
You see, like, a bead of sweat. I don't know if Dragon Scent can sweat, but he's gained the ability.
You've just got clammy flaps. That's okay. In which case, as Cal all but drags you from the trophy room, this you hear this rumbling as you leave. Cool. So the two of you return to the parlour, and Cal, you have a glowing, runic dagger, a glowing magical blade in your hand, and Volana kind of tilts her head. I'm surprised that is reacting to you.
You're telling me?
She sort of holds a hand out, if I may.
Of course.
And as she takes it, Vanya and Rayri, you notice that the chef is just sort of watching this all, her head's flitting backwards and forwards. And okay, so you found the dagger that she stabbed him with. So arrest her or something. What's Rayri doing? What's Rayri thinking? Because you still haven't got a motive. You haven't got proof of a motive.
No. I think Rayri will just sidle round to the chef.
Mm-hmm. Kick her.
And just sit on the chair.
Okay.
And just kind of have a little look at her.
Yeah.
While they're looking at that dagger, we've got to sort out, the admin stuff and all this stuff. Agatha over there, guy in shackles. We got quite a lot of information out of him. And he said that you've only been working here a couple of months. You? used to be a druid. Is that right?
The
Funny things should just change. What are you doing to become a chef?
I mean, it's a place of honor to be the chef for such a powerful mage.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't very nice to you. He didn't like your cooking.
I mean, Master Ulick, he liked his food quite pedestrian. But I mean, I don't quite understand what it is that you're implicating. That what, no one would kill someone because they don't like their food.
No, it's just this funny thing happened a couple of months ago, and it might just have like a bit of effect, like a knock-on effect of some other things. So he had this like shard that he like stole.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that.
Can really
Yeah.
insight.
That would seem to be a see, yeah, there is a part. See, knowledge says recall, analyze, and comprehend. To interpret facts, see the patterns clearly, or remember important information. Instinct says to sense danger, notice details in the world around you, or track an elusive foe. There is a part of me that thinks instinct is more physical and knowledge is more mental. So,
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it.
or presence,
Knowledge.
facility with social situations.
I think there are times, if it's not clear, the general consensus with the whole theme of Daggerheart is if you can narratively explain how you're implementing a certain skill, then that's the...
Sure. I'll flavour the answer based on which ability you use. But I would argue it's between presence and knowledge.
Yeah, so I mean, I would.
Beeftane is asking if Vinny helps with the smelling of crotch sweat when stressed.
That's actually not part of his
repertoire. That's a higher level. That's
Yeah, that's the next level up.
a new experience.
Did you say presence?
Presence or knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think what Mary's trying to kind of figure out if when the chef says, I wouldn't know anything about that, if they're putting on like an act, like maybe they are themselves deceiving. Can I roll for? Can I see if they are deceiving me?
Roll me a presence.
A presence check.
Oh yeah, I'm happy with that.
Come on, I've been rolling like what? 8, 10.
Okay.
15.
15.
Oh, if you roll a presence check with fear, I can spend 3 hope to intervene on the consequence.
Objection! Okay, what does the intervening look like?
I think it's I suppose it says negate the roll's consequences by intervening.
Very good. Okay. You, for a fleeting moment, you thought the clock was going to go bong as another hour mysteriously disappeared. But no, you are wrong. It is only the 45 minutes past chime. You rolled a 15. It is clear she does know what you're talking about. So yeah, and she looks around like somewhat shiftily, and it's clear to her as she looks around and sees a number of faces, a number of eyes just like boring into her. The only people in the room not looking at her are Bendel, who's like drooping in and out of consciousness, and Lady Gwendolyn, who's just sort of like blinking and just like muttering to himself, but I killed him. But I don't understand. And she's like looking at the chef as if confused about all of these kind of streams of thought that are spilling, weaving out in front of her. And Valana looks to the four of you and says, Do you have a murder suspect, a murder weapon, and a motive that you want to put forward? I do not have much magic left, but once you have ascertained those, once you believe you have found the answers to those three questions, I can use what magical reserves I have left to draw forth a confession, if the person is guilty.
Well, I think we have a weapon and a suspect. Not necessarily a full motive yet, as far as I know. But I'm sure we can get one.
Stradivon pipes up and, if the knife was used to kill the mage, why is it not sodden with blood?
I was also wondering this.
Is it cleaned? Is it? You could just wipe. I wipe my weapons off all the time.
The paladin looks at the dagger that, because she's got her hands on spell render, and Cal, you've noticed that the runes did not immediately stopped glowing once she took hold of it. But she looks over and it is immaculately spotless. It would be difficult to clean it as well as it would need it to to get it back into this state. If it was used as a murder weapon, would. And she looks around, and realistically, I'm just going to ask everyone for a knowledge recall because we're cracking on, and it was also 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
Recall some knowledge from 6 weeks ago.
Oh, well, I got a crit.
Vanya did get a crit.
With my -1.
Ray passed, Vanya passed. What's everyone's... Oh, I'm assuming everyone's knowledge is 0 or -1, right?
0.
Okay.
I got 2.
Alfric's
You got 2. Okay. So, Alfric, Vanya, and Rayri... No, sorry. Alfric, Cal... Oh, yeah, and Rayri... Is that everyone? Vanya passed. Oh, Cal didn't. Okay. So.
Oh.
You all as the Alfric, Vanya, and Rayri, the three of you look at each other, and Stradivon is stood in the doorway, right? He's blocking the doorway. But it's Rayri, as you're kind of as you look down, he's tall enough that you can see between his legs into the foyer. And as you peer back, Alfric, Vanya, you remember marvelling at how well that doormat cleans the mud off your boots. And it dawns on the three of you that the doormat at the start of the mansion, and Alfric, you remember this explicitly as well, when you stepped on it, it cleaned, it for all intents and purposes cast a prestidigitation spell that cleaned off all of the muck and debris from your clothes and shoes, leaving them absolutely spotless. And yeah, Vanya, you're with off the back of a crit, you can 100% put 2 and 2 together, and like the quality of the cleanliness of this dagger far exceeds what was the state of the other artifacts in that room.
I was thinking about like dust, collecting dust and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking,
well, if the artifact has been in that room for a long time, it would have collected dust by now. However, I've never felt so clean until I walked on that mat that we walked on.
It was like being cuddled by a cloud. A warm cloud. And Valana just sort of like raises her eyebrows. Prestidigitation. Oh, mate, I had to practice a long time to learn to say that. Yes, she sort of like raises her eyebrows as a lot of the pieces are falling together. Well, are we ready to try for a confession? Are we confident? Okay. The chef, like Chef Trier, kind of looks round and sort of like, what, like she's you know, she's looking around a little frantically, as the paladin steps forward, and sort of like stoops down and pulls the large bear rug in the middle of the parlour to the side. And as she steps into the middle of the room, in the middle of the floor, she closes her eyes and then kind of offers her hands out, and her eyes slowly fade to a sort of like a dull whitish glow, a grey glow, if you will, and like divine runes begin to encircle her and sort of like rotate around her in rings, and as they grow in intensity, they sort of like flow down her form, and it effectively embed themselves on the floor around her until a runic circle has been conjured. And she looks to you, Vanier, and sort of like gestures to the middle of the circle. As Shreer looks around and no, you've got it wrong. You've got this. She said. And yeah, Vanya, are you?
I am using my good glove and just shoving this person towards them.
Okay. And as the chef moves into the middle of the runic circle, like she looks around and then suddenly like stiffens, and her head kind of sits bolt upright as she finds herself just kind of locked into a stare towards the paladin. And as the keeper looks down on her, she asks, like as she speaks, you notice that there's a glow from within her that's kind of just about visible from the back of her throat. As like this resonant voice, she asks, "In the presence of Tione, you have been summoned to test your guilt. This evening, did you assassinate the Archmage Ulick?" And you see the chef sort of like, she's trying to like turn her head away, and then she snaps back, and then her eyes glow the same as the paladin's, and she, "Yes," she says. Did you use this dagger to kill the mage? Yes, she says. Did you... The paladin stops and sort of like looks to you. Between the four of you, just to clarify, what do you suspect the motive is? What have you told Valana the motive is?
It's to do with the temple, right? It's to do with...
Yeah, he stole the crystal from her temple.
Or the temple that was linked to her, druidic.
Yeah, her goddess or god, dragon.
Did you kill Archmage Ulick in retaliation for his actions at your temple? And the chef, like, her shoulders sink a little, and then she stands back to attention. For what he did to my brothers and sisters, this was too fine a death for him. I wish I could cut him down like the dog he is. In his death, the spirits of my fellow adherents can be at peace. And the paladin sighs and then looks to the four of you with a smile as the chef admits that you have found the correct murderer, the correct murder weapon, and the correct motive. And like as this happens, like Stradivon is sort of like nodding in approval as the magic runes begin to dissipate, and the chef sort of like slumps back down and what happened? What happened? And before she can kind of do anything, this keeper like strides towards her and like grabs her by the shoulder, roughly spins her around, and then using the same spell as she did on Agathar, she binds her wrists together in a divine binding. And in the hour and a bit left before midnight, there is a relatively uneasy, like a relatively awkward tension through the mansion. But sort of like secured in the parlour, like locked in with Agathar, the paladin moves you out into the foyer and thanks you for your efforts in the investigation. I must admit, I'm not very good with seeing some of the more subtle details, so I appreciate all of your help. If there's anything that if you have any matters within the mansion, I suggest you do them quickly. It seems the spell will be ending soon. So between the four of you, is there anything you want to sort of like supermarket sweep from the mansion before it all vanishes?
Loot!
Rayleigh goes up to Gwendolyn.
Yeah.
And so, you and the Archmage, a bit of a thing.
She nods.
Found the ring.
Yes. We were betrothed once, but it would seem the call of adventure was too much for him. And of all of the days to decide to leave me, he chose that one very specific day. And she looks a bit sad, and then maybe that's why I killed him.
No, dear, no. No, you didn't kill him. No, like the druid, she cast got you a bit confused, I think. Or maybe you are just a bit confused. Quite old. Just confused.
I can very quickly tell you that in the amount of time that you've had after the arrest of Chef Sharir, the Paladin Valana finds on the Lorrivar woman's possession one of Agathar's artifacts that was missing from one of the pedestals at the back of the room. Specifically, the orb of modified memory. And yeah, she tells you the effects will wear off eventually, she says, but as it currently stands, she will just have to think that she killed Agathar. Yes. Back to the present. Yeah, the old lady nods. Maybe that's why I killed him. Why do you ask, child?
Oh, we found your old engagement ring. I was going through his drawers and I found it.
Could you fetch it for me? It might be a suitable reminder of him.
Very good. Now, yes. Vinny, go get it.
As Vinny goes to fetch the ring, Cal, is there anything you're supermarket sweeping?
I want to talk to Valanda regarding spell render. Like, does she need to keep it because it's evidence, or do I get to keep it? And I'm also not even sure if Cal wants to keep it, but also I want to keep it even if Cal doesn't want to keep it. So I'm like trying to figure out if like what that entails for him and what that means.
She as you ask, she turns, and I noticed that you had attuned to it somewhat quicker than we would normally have expected. I have been speaking to Agathar as to the nature of this dagger, and it would seem that due to its nature, it attunes to someone who has sworn vengeance against a magic user. I suspect that's how it was such an efficient weapon to use against the Archmage. It has some spells contained within it that can be cast a number of times per day. It would seem that the dispelling spells contained within have been exhausted, perhaps by our chef, when it was used on Archmage Ulick. Now that we have a divine pronouncement confession, I do not need it physically. The confession has been made, Tione has heard it, and I shall use that as evidence. I have no need for this, and I suspect that none of the guests here will want a reminder as to what has transpired tonight. It seems that someone has earned your ire that would enough that it would activate the blade, so perhaps on this occasion I will turn a blind eye if you were to take it for yourself.
I think Cal will take this in and he will look very solemn as he thinks about this. Thank you. I think I will take it, but my intention is not for vengeance. I thought I had done with all of that back in the war. But if it is useful as an explorer, I will use it wisely. At least that's my aim.
Volana nods and sometimes to find yourself changed by what happened during the War of the Heavens, this is not a mark of weakness. It is merely a mark of our mortalness. And she sort of like nods and hands you the dagger. What's Vanier supermarket sweeping?
I can't remember all the artifact things that were there.
There's an earring.
Earring.
I have a giant's ring and some horns that are like walkie-talkies.
Yep.
This is my notes from 6 weeks ago. I don't know how evident they are.
The orb of modify memory.
Yes.
Yes. So the earrings, the orb, and modify memory. There were the horns of like large horns that Agathar mentioned. If you like spoke into one, like if you held it to your ear and your mouth, you could hear and talk to the person that was holding the other horn to their ear and mouth. In the trophy room, there's also the like amulet of enchantment magic.
Do we know what that does?
Cal figured out that it had some sort of it could the magic within it would make someone extremely susceptible to magical suggestions.
Oh, yeah, that one was more like you plant on. So. Yeah. And then that was it, right?
I guess
the curse do not touch circlet.
And the car and the black iron circlet. But I mean, no one wants to pick that up. So moving swiftly on. I mean, I guess the only other thing, Vanier, is that there are some really good quality herbs and spices in Chef Sharir's pantry.
Ooh.
Like super exotic.
Would Bendel know how to open up the safe?
I think it's just going to have his will in it.
Oh, was it just how? Does it have just a will? No, like coffers.
Otherwise, I
He
assume
has no money.
He hasn't got any
He's
money.
basically bankrupt. So we're told.
Well, yes. Like having shaken him down, Agathar produces a key, which unlocks the safe. So if you wanted to have a quick look in the safe.
A quick look in the safe.
Okay, quick look in the safe.
Just to see.
Reveals.
Letter.
It reveals. The brackets updated close brackets will of the Archmage Ulick. The updated will of the Archmage Ulick of Atwin Tower, which shall henceforth supersede any other written versions of my will. To the town of Seldavon, I leave the sum of 5,000 gold pieces, that the town's leaders may provide for the common good of the people. The contents of the rosewood box are to be left to Lady Gwendolen of Grandland Manor, and they belong to her to do as she wishes. No one but her shall inspect the contents. I leave it to the ever-faithful Bendel to deliver it to her. All of my other possessions I leave to be divided between my successor, Agathar. I leave to my successor, Agathar, that my dutiful student may continue my life's work. Signed, Archmage Ulick. So you realise this will is leaving everything to Agathar.
Yeah, so I just, knowing that the will's no use and it's been tampered and Agathar's been he just rips it up. Just like, well.
Otherwise, inside the safe is a spellbook. You assume this Archmage's spellbook. And a Dragonbone wand. You realise the matching pair to the broken one that Agathar is.
Oh yeah, because he dual wielded, didn't he? On that.
And do wands in this world, are they just arcane focuses? Or do they actually have like magic item?
I mean,
like,
all I'm going to say is in that picture, he is shooting hella lightning bolts out of it. So...
Well, I'll take the one.
Okay.
Not that, and the spell book. And I will tell Rayri, as I'm about to make my way to the kitchen, I'll say,
Really, I remember there were some cool looking horns that might be quite useful. I think you should go. Yeah, you should get them.
and I'm gonna go into the kitchen and just raid those spice cupboards.
Okay.
Put them into my cool bag.
In which case, yeah, as you are minutes to midnight and everyone gathers in the foyer to make their exit, and like Agathar looks crestfallen, Bendel is conscious but stupefied, and he's just sort of like being carried along, like helped along, and he's just like just mumbling to himself. But as your Stradivon is carrying the paladin Valana is carrying the swaddled corpse of the mayor, and Stradivon is carrying the swaddled corpse of the archmage. But as you all get ready to leave, Alfric, what did you supermarket sweep for?
I think he thought about it.
Uh-huh.
Then he thought about the books he has read,
Uh-huh.
and none of them
Uh-huh.
contain a good story
Uh-huh.
about an evil crown that talks to you.
Uh-huh.
Picture that in his mind, and he tried to spend that hour playing a little song on his violin. And very deliberately not picking up an evil circlet
Okay.
from the artifact room.
If Vanya sees this sense of willpower to go away from the, I will proudly be like,
That was the true test. We can make an explorer out of you yet.
and I present the spell book. I cannot use.
In which case, as Vanya, as you look proudly at Alfric for resisting the temptation of the black iron circlet, Valana asks if you're all ready. And as the clock strikes midnight, you watch as the starry skies through the magical windows that kind of adorn the mansion, the stars begin to kind of blink out until they just become an inky darkness, and slowly, bit by bit, the ceiling and the walls of the mansion almost begin to sort of like blow away as if wisps of smoke as the mansion begins to deconstruct around you, until only a matter of moments later, you all find yourselves stood on the top of the hill where the mansion once stood. And as you look up and see the night sky that you're newly familiar with, the night sky that is only 18 months old for you all. And the moon kind of gleaming brightly overhead. Valana thanks you, the four of you, once again, and everyone begins to move off in their respective directions. Alfric, are you what discussions are you having? Because it seems like these three are these three have some bad news to deliver to Avamore, and because they were not able to retrieve what it was that they were sent to fetch from the Archmage, but they are heading back to the portal that will take them back to Avamore, fundamentally the new capital of Elsewhere. But where are you heading?
I've kind of got to go home.
I thought you wanted to be an explorer.
I mean, I do, but I also I was sent to go to this party, and if I don't come back from the party, and also the tower has gone and several people are dead, that might cause some disturbance between my parents. But I could write, and maybe I could come join you later if you'll have me, of course.
You know you are always welcome. Take whatever time you need. It's always good.
You'll find us. Right to the explorers. We're there.
And you'll put in a good word for me. I'm quite...
Put in a word.
Well, there we go. Does Cal have any heartfelt things to add on?
You did good, kid. We'll see you soon.
Alfred beams a big dragon-y smile.
Not too soon. But we'll see you soon.
Please, not too soon.
In which case, as the four of you begin kind of descending down the hill, and three of you one of you branches off to head home while the other three head back towards the established portal back to Avamore. Elsewhere, the gleaming moon is slowly and eventually eclipsed by dark rolling clouds, as a low, deep rumble of thunder ripples across the night sky. As the lights of Seldavon begin to extinguish at the bottom of the hill, and rain begins to fall from the skies, the droplets ricochet off a dark circular object, a ring-like object laying in the ground. And as we zoom in to this black iron circlet, we hear a quiet but prominent and we will call it there. Congratulations, everyone, on completing the Ulick Mansion murder mystery. Thank you to Alagomar on Reddit for writing that adventure. This has been a very Alagomar spelt right there. It's probably backwards, but it was a very, very good little adventure. A really good one shot to run. I hope the four of you enjoyed it. I hope everyone who's watching enjoyed it. But yeah, we finished the second tale. The explorers are heading back to Avamore. There may or may not be a fourth explorer in the wings. We will see. But yeah, all the loose threads were tied up. Nothing untoward. Nothing. No repercussions. Nah. Everyone got what was coming to them. Bish bash bosh. Job done. Congratulations, everyone. You did it. I think we need happy music from this. But yeah, well done. You did it. So now that we've finished this, we in the next session is going to be the start of a new tale. We've had a quick discussion about this offline. We're going to be skipping a week for all intents and purposes. So the next session we'll be recording live will be on the 31st of October. And I don't think the 31st of October has any real world holiday significance that might affect what we are or are not doing. But we'll be excited to see you all there for the start of Tale 3.
Dan.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Question.
Answer.
Can our characters be in fancy dress, please?
I mean, maybe. Maybe. Well, if you want to see the characters in fancy dress, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the Explorers of Elsewhere channel. Hit the bell icon for notifications when we release new videos, because they're coming out all the time. We wouldn't want you to miss it. And how would you know if there was fancy dress or not if you didn't subscribe and get the notification? Exactly, Beef. Why would we not want that? Yes. Thank you all again for playing. Thank you all again for watching. Has anyone here, specifically Theo or Georgia, got any shout outs that they want to shout out?
I feel like me and Georgia might have something. I'll let Georgia lead it. The last time I led it, and I don't think I did a very good job.
We now have an announcement date for our horror fiction found footage podcast, The Homewood Foundation, which is a queer sequel to the novel Dracula. You can find us on social medias, on our website, thehomewoodfoundation.com. Our social media link is the Homewood Foundation, and we are dropping the pilot on the 15th, as well as the Kickstarter for all of season 1, which we are hoping to crowdfund. So if a horror, found footage fiction, Dracula or queer sounds good to you, then please look us up.
All the above.
Amazing. And yeah, the link to the website I've just chucked in the chat.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, so yeah, 100% give that a little look into, especially in case there are any real world holidays that kind of tie into it coming up soon. Right, thank you everyone for watching, thank you everyone for playing. We will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.